am New York. I got the meanest streets, the hardest concrete. Right here, in my heart, you and destiny are gonna meet. How can you rise up where others have fallen?
What a spectacular move.
When they say I never sleep, this is what they're talking about. Lighting it up when the pressure's on. Starting fast, finishing strong. And this night will belong to the team like me that rises above the rest. Be like me, stand tall.
It took overtime to do it.
Be like me, full of life.
Fourth win in as many nights.
I am New York, and this is the Big East Championship.
This is indeed the Big East Championship, and there is a buzz surrounding tonight's title game as the UConn faithful look for their Huskies to cap an unprecedented run with a record-tying 7th conference crown. But Louisville knows all about finishing strong, and the Cardinals are looking for their 2nd Big East title in 3 years. Which team will rise up and make the night belong to them? Championship Week continues, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Welcome, everybody, to ESPN's coverage of the 2011 Big East Championship, presented by American Eagle Outfitters. Tonight it's Connecticut, the number 19 team in the country, the number 9 seed in this Big East Championship, against Louisville, the number 14 team in the country, and the 3 seed in the Big East tournament. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Jay Bilas and Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us for one of the signature events of the college basketball season. And Jay, Kemba Walker has put his signature all over this tournament. The Huskies had to win 4 games in 4 days to get here. They'll play an unprecedented 5th straight game. No team has ever done that in the conference tournament, and he's the biggest reason why they're here.
Well, he's been the toast of Broadway, a New York City kid that has played on the biggest stage and played his best basketball. He has been the best player on the floor in every game that he has played in the semifinals. 33 points, 12 rebounds. He had 5 assists and 6 steals. He was magnificent, and he's at his best in transition. That's where he can set himself apart, and that's where he's his most efficient. And against Louisville, he's going to have to get into open court situations. When Kemba Walker gets out in transition, he shoots almost 56% from the field. That's 8 points per game that he gets in open court situations. That can be the difference between a Big East championship and not.
He has played every minute of the last 2 games and 4 of the last 6. That includes their overtime win yesterday against Syracuse. And Bill, if you have to play for the 5th time in 5 days, it's a particularly tough assignment against the Louisville team that's going to harass you defensively all night long.
Sean, you're always telling us to reach back, and we listen to you. And you're no Rick Pitino, I assure you. They get after you. This team reaches back, play with such an enthusiasm, always determined at the rim. You've got Jennings, the ability to strip, to deflect. They challenge every shot. They love to get runouts, and as we all know, they score. They're ready to pressure you again.
And they use that pressure defense to come from 14 down last night at the half to beat Notre Dame. Time to send you over to the public address announcer. Here's Ken Webprint.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your caps. Here to perform the national anthem, first singing at Madison Square Garden at the age of 7, and recently making it to the Hollywood round on the hit show American Idol, please welcome back 15-year-old Alessandra Guercio.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave.
Alexandra Guercio, ladies and gentlemen.
During the national anthem, a fan yelled out, "I love you, Kemba Walker." That fan is hardly alone among Husky faithful. Kemba Walker highlighting a great week of action here in New York City at the Big East Championship. Let's look back at some of the drama.
They stopped officiating this basketball game.
There he is again. Wow, is he amazing? Fourth win in as many nights. It's been a memorable 4 days with the promise of more excitement to come. Let's send you back to public address announcer Ken Weprin for tonight's starting lineups.
And now, let's meet the starting lineup. First for the Huskies of Connecticut. At forward, a 6'9" freshman from Mansfield, Connecticut, number 10, Tyler Olander. At forward, a 6'9" sophomore from Lowell, Massachusetts, number 34, Alex Oriaki. At forward, a 6'8" freshman from Baltimore, Maryland, number 22, Roscoe Smith. At guard, a 6'5" freshman from Norcross, Georgia, number 3, Jeremy Lamb. And at guard, a 6'1" junior from the Bronx, New York, number 15, Kemba Walker. The head coach of the Huskies is Jim Calhoun. And now here's the starting lineup for the Cardinals of Louisville. At forward, a 6'9" junior from Sacramento, California, number 23, Terrence Jennings. At forward, a 6'4" junior from Evansville, Indiana, number 14, Kyle Keurig. At forward, a 6'2" junior from Millstone, New Jersey, number 5, Chris Smith. At guard, a 5'11" sophomore from Seattle, Washington, number 3, Peyton Siva. And at guard, a 6'1" senior from Winchester, Kentucky, number 2, Preston Knowles. The head coach of the Cardinals is Rick Pitino.
And we're pleased to be joined on tonight's telecast by Doris Burke. Doris?
Sean, other than 4 minutes in each of the first 2 games, Kemba Walker has been on the floor ever since for the Connecticut Huskies. In fact, of a possible 165 total minutes, he has played 157. What does that mean for trainer James Doran? Well, what he likes to term rapid recovery. In other words, plenty of ice for Kemba and the rest of the team. For Jim Calhoun, he says this is as much a mental test as it is a physical. So he went to work on his guys last night, essentially saying, guys, when we start the preseason, 5 straight days of hard practice is nothing. I guarantee you that is more difficult than this, guys. We'll see if that works.
You know, when we talked to Rick Pitino before the game, he said he did not think Connecticut's fatigue would be an issue. He's known Jim Calhoun and competed against him a long time, for 3 decades. He said Jim Calhoun will have his team ready to go. Both teams ready to go for the Big East Championship. Ed Corbett, John Gaffney, Mike Roberts, the officials. John Gaffney will throw it in the air. Jennings and Oriaki the tip, and Louisville and White controlled it.
Sean McDonough, Jay Bilas, UConn go.
Chris Smith, guarded by Roscoe Smith, who played only 5 minutes last night after taking an elbow to the eye in their win over Pittsburgh and required 8 stitches.
Big matchup, Lamb on Knowles.
And Walker on Siva, quick on quick.
Walker passes it off to Jeremy Lamb, and the Huskies have the first bucket of the night.
Well, that's what Jim Calhoun told us all week long. They want to get out and run. You usually do it off of bad shots or turnovers.
Rebounding is going to be a gigantic factor in this game. The team that can get second shots is going to have an advantage, and if you can clean up your defensive board.
That was key for Louisville last night in their win over Notre Dame. They out-rebounded the Irish by 14, and Louisville had 23 offensive rebounds. Chris Smith a miss. Tyler Olander the save, but right to Terrence Jennings. And Louisville has drawn even.
I don't know why he saved it. I thought it was going to be his ball.
He's a freshman. That's a freshman mistake. You throw it right underneath your opponent's basket, you ought to get an assist.
Smith into Oriaki. Now Olander had a great night last night. Oriaki fouled after he got it back from Jeremy Lamb. Oriaki's had a nice Big East championship as well. He's had double-doubles in 2 of their 4 games, including their win last night against Syracuse when he had 15 and 11.
That's a nice bounce back there by Olander. When he caught that ball, showed a lot of poise, waited, and then he hit Lamb on the run.
63% free throw shooter is the sophomore from Lowell, Massachusetts.
Pretty good interior passing team, though. They have developed that knack, UConn. They're going to need it just for pressure releases.
Louisville entered the Big East in 2005-2006. So in 6 seasons in the Big East, this is their second championship game appearance. They beat Syracuse in 2009 to win the Big East title. That was the year Syracuse played Connecticut in the quarters in the epic 6 overtime game. Preston Knowles the miss.
And that gets Kemba in the open floor where he's pretty tight. We'll rag him now. See if he's patient early, Sean.
Olander flashed to the foul line, then hit Roscoe Smith. And his first shot way off. He should be rested with the lack of playing time because of the eye injury. In transition, it's Chris Smith finishing for the Cards.
What a bounce pass by Siva. Explodes down the floor.
Boy, the speed, and Smith running the floor.
Lamb fired up a one-handed air ball out of bounds to UConn with 24 to shoot.
Now, this is the kind of transition that is really hard to deal with. The guard grabs the rebound, Siva, and it is a straight line the other way. And Smith just ran that lane. He sprinted that lane. That's the way you're supposed to break out.
A little altercation here getting organized. And one of the concerns Jim Calhoun expressed to the 3 of us was inbounding the ball. They are not putting big on the inbounder, though. Keurig underneath.
This might look familiar to these 2 coaches. I mentioned they go back about 3 decades when, whoa, they're still jockeying for position. When Rick Pitino was the young head coach at Boston University and Jim Calhoun was the youthful head man at Northeastern University. Schools about a mile apart in Boston, and both coaches told us before the game, just about every game back in those days, there was a fist fight. Sometimes we'd lay up line before the game started.
Well, you knew they were going to call a foul right there. You just knew it.
A shame on Jennings, though. I mean, they can't afford to get him in trouble. He's so important the way they they guard. You can see the disdain Rick Pitino has for that particular call.
That's a big call because it's Terrence Jennings' second, and he's been a terrific force inside at 16 and 5 last night against Notre Dame.
Well, that looks like a traffic jam in the subway, huh?
What a back cut.
Walker long with the jumper, and the Cardinals want to run when they can. Kyle Keurig to the bucket, and the tip up and in by the very athletic Chris Smith.
More white shirts out there, out sprinting UConn, a major issue.
They look like they're being shot out of a can. Are there starting blocks under that basket for them?
We talk about Connecticut's fatigue, but Rick Pitino said after their game last night, their second in as many days, his team was exhausted.
He said he was the worst he's been in quite a while. Physical fatigue.
You can relate to that.
Yeah, well, working with you, we're both tired often.
Walker, shed Keurig with the fake. Kemba Walker adding to his Big East championship point record for a single Big East tournament.
Oh no, nickel dimer.
Come on, Ed Corbett, let him play. Didn't come here to watch the officials. We had much more than enough of that earlier in the week.
This is that step back, Jay. Excuse me. So good at that, isn't he?
No
Shed
question.
this guy.
He got the switch, was able to force the switch, and once he did, he got a matchup he liked, and that little shake and step back, hard to guard.
You can't even guard the baseline. He's so quick.
And his jumper up and good. Louisville beat Connecticut twice in the regular season, and they've won 4 straight against UConn overall. And Jim Calhoun said in both games this season, Peyton Siva was the most valuable player.
Oh, what a tough pass.
Good catch by Oriaki. And it looked like Gorgie Jang, who's come into the ball game, might have deflected it. He's a 6'10 freshman. A good shot blocker. Knowles is wide open for 3. Jang on the offensive glass, and Roscoe Smith got a piece of it, and then a foul on Jang.
Boy, they are really, you said exploding out of the blocks. They are exploding off the floor as well.
But you see where Preston Knowles looked down at the line to make sure his feet were behind it over in the corner. They are cognizant. They're not going to take an 18-foot jumper. They're going to be behind that line.
And also, Jay, anything loose, you've got to match Louisville. A couple of free balls, they're just quicker to it right now.
Charles Aquandu's checked in. Number 35 for UConn. Tough shot, and the banker good for Jeremy Lamb.
How about that choreography?
Just a natural score.
Mike Mara off the bench. Rebound Lamb. Huskies showing no sign of fatigue. Blocking foul call as Walker had Siva underneath him, and Rick Pitino is livid. He thought there was a travel at the very least before the contact.
I think he was right, Sean. I think that would have been a good out. Great arrangement by Siva, though. Amazing. We saw the steam going to the rim. The puppies a little tardy on Walker trying to stop a fast break. Both tough.
Tremendous excitement in the start of this game in the Big East Championship. Louisville with a 1-point lead over UConn at our first media timeout. A triumphant return home for Bronx native Kemba Walker, who's used to performing on big stages in this city all the way back to grade school. Kemba performed at the legendary Apollo Theater 3 times as part of a competition for a spot on the TV program Showtime at the Apollo. They reached the final round of the competition but didn't win it, so he's hoping to get to the final round of this competition and win tonight. He's had a tremendous Big East championship, including the 4 tournament records. He's made 39 free throws, including 13 out of 14 in their win over Syracuse last night.
Jay has that marquee at his house in Charlotte, where stars are born.
That was our Subway Fresh Take, the profile of Kemba Walker.
Against the zone, they've done a nice job of moving Jeremy Lamb around and getting into that middle.
Jamal Coombs McDaniel a miss. Roscoe Smith the offensive rebound.
And Lamb is smooth. I mean, he could have shot that. Settled it. Made a good pass. Nice cross.
And the bucket for Kemba Walker. He has 4, and UConn has the lead.
Jay, he may not be as fast as Siva straight line. He's got gears, though. Step up. Great cross. Lunge around the deck as well.
Siva.
Nice.
Off to Preston Knowles. Kyle Keurig, the offensive rebound. He's become a tremendous rebounder for them over the latter stages of the year. Mara's shot was blocked by Roscoe Smith. 42 block shots in the year for Smith. Now he jacks a three. Rebound Siva. Sophomore from Seattle, one of the quickest players in the country.
Both teams look pretty fresh, don't they? Consider.
I have to think the adrenaline flow is high at the beginning of the game, which helps. Jang off the setup from Siva. Back and forth they go. Last night, Rick Pitino likened the game against Notre Dame to a 12-round fight. He said we wanted to keep hitting them with body blows and wear them out, and they did. And both teams are landing some early punches tonight.
Nice.
Coombs McDaniel, and the follow by Charles Okwandu.
Keeping Coombs McDaniel behind the zone. That was very successful against Syracuse. And if you go for a shot block, that opens up the offensive glass.
They are really icing it, aren't they? Forcing it one way.
Siva underneath for Jang. Got his own rebound. Mike Mara for three. And the rebound to Coombs McDaniel. Good run out on the shot by Walker to force a high arc on that three by Mara.
So the floor is springy tonight. These kids are getting up.
Walker splits the defense. Three-point lead for Connecticut, and Kemba Walker picking up tonight where he left off last night and doing what he's done every day this week.
So using the ball screen, not much space in there, but just shoots right through it and then refuses. This screen goes right around Peyton Siva. And Kemba Walker, I wonder how he's going to do it his 6th game in 6 nights.
I bet he'll play someplace tomorrow. Boy, he gets so low and protects the ball, doesn't he, in traffic?
Chris Smith powered down the lane and then threw it away.
Rick Pitino talking to Gorgie Jang about playing low and keeping his hands ready, so he's ready for that pass.
A lot of handlers on the floor now against this pressure.
UConn handling it well. The question is, will they still be handling it well later in the game? We saw the fatigue set in for Notre Dame, it appeared, last night. Walker.
Look at him run it down. That's what you got to come up with against this Louisville team. They're quick to it.
Shabazz Napier, the freshman, lost the dribble, and it's picked up by Knowles. 3-on-1 off to Keurig, and it's blocked by Jeremy Lamb.
The long arms of Jeremy Lamb.
Walker a deep three.
He's playing both ends of the floor, Lamb.
How about the quote from George Blaney, the assistant coach for UConn, about the performance last night? Knowles long, and the rebound to Napier. He said Kemba Walker dominated the game, the offensive end, the defensive end, and an attitude.
And attitude probably was the most important, prevailing during the whole course of the evening.
Walker, the pull-up.
He's out. He's out. He's confident, getting what he wants. Grows from there.
They're just killing him off the pick and roll. I mean, you say trap it, and he splits it.
You really got to stay in touch.
You certainly have to keep contact. You can't give him any room. You almost be better off stringing it out.
Knowles had 20 last night to lead them back to the win against Notre Dame. Smith, rebound Oriaki, the leading rebounder in this Big East championship.
A lot of offensive rebounds available for Louisville.
Louisville's 1 out of 9 so far from three. Lamb a three. Wow. Another timeout called by Rick Pitino.
Wow. This Lamb, Sean and Jay, you don't need any mint jelly. This guy is good on his own. Every facet early. Great diagonal. You mentioned the pick and roll into the crouch and drilling them.
Well, Kemba Walker has gotten into the lane. You let him get into the lane. It's not like Louisville's letting him. He's forcing his way in there with his tremendous skill and his speed, but he is just breaking down this Louisville defense.
Jeremy Lamb, terrific as well. Championship week continues tomorrow afternoon. Great matchups in the ACC and SEC championship games at 1 Eastern on ABC. Kentucky faces Florida for the Southeastern Conference Championship. And then on ESPN at 1 Eastern, Duke takes on North Carolina for the ACC title. Both games are part of championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. I was very surprised to hear Dick Vitale and Dan Schulman talking today about that's the first time in 10 years that the ACC final's been Duke and North Carolina. You'd think it is just about every year, but first time in 10 years they've met in the tournament championship.
Did I hear them say if anyone gets to the final, they make the Final Four? I hear that too today from the ACC. I think that's what they did say. Chris Nolan Smith back. That's great news, isn't it?
Well, he didn't look like he was suffering from a lot of pain. He was terrific.
Siva off to Stephen Van Treese, had trouble on the catch and on the dribble, and Oriaki picked it up. They've scored 9 straight points. Donnell Beverly in, a senior.
The movement of Connecticut's offense has been very good. They've gotten the ball up court quickly and sure-handed with the ball.
Oriaki, a nice spin, and he made it. Went around George Good, who's come off the Louisville bench.
Jim Connell mentioned he can make that little jumper. He did yesterday, but that's just good poise, triple threat, and get to the tin, big fella.
Just not enough pressure on him from Good.
Inside to Van Treese, who's not a scorer, nor is Good, but he made that one. George Good averages just 3 points per game in about 8 minutes. And that ends the UConn run. First field goal in well over 4 minutes for Louisville.
They've not had any trouble with the full court pressure. Wow.
Smith, that's a long 2.
I know he can make them. That was like Michael Jordan would point.
Well, he looked around for passing options. Didn't have one. He was left wide open. He can make a 3. That's his 22nd of the year. Good move to the bucket by Peyton Siva.
He is slowly becoming one of the great finishers, too, around the rim. What toughness as he invades that territory of the bigs.
And they say you need to use your left hand on that. No way. You can use your right hand. Just get it up there as quickly as you can onto the glass. That was really well done.
Siva had one of his best games of the year in their win at Connecticut. Louisville was down by 9 with about 7 minutes to go in that game. Came back and won in stores. Smith missed. Oriaki there to follow.
How about the up fake by Beverly? That made the whole play.
Playing a lot of confidence.
Siva with Walker right on his hip.
Look at this anticipation.
Steal by Walker. And the dunk.
Wow. He owns New York.
An endless font of energy. Kemba Walker, and a little too energetic on defense. He tripped up Marin, got called for the foul. His first.
If that kid were fresh, he'd be a heck of a player.
How about this kid stripping the strippers? And why not? I had it, coach. Drill it, big fella.
Coverage of the Big East Championship is also available on ESPN 3D, brought to you by Sony. Connecticut on a 21-6 run. Louisville led 9-6. But Kemba Walker has taken over the game for the 5th day in a row. He has 10 points already on 5 out of 7 shooting.
And he's done it every way you can. He's getting into the lane. That's been the main key, whether it's been in transition and then this steal just taking it right away from a very good point guard, Peyton Siva.
He foot fakes. Sean McDonough falls out of his seat over here. He is amazing with his body control as his mom checks it out.
His mom, Andrea, very proud. He's set another mark now, the most points scored in the conference tournament in the last 15 years, 121 and counting. He has 1,633 career points. With 15 more, he'll move into the top 10 all-time at UConn in scoring. He'll move past Donyell Marshall. And bear in mind, Walker's only a junior, although many believe it'll be his last year at Connecticut. He took part in their senior night festivities, and he will graduate in May. In addition to everything else, he's also a good student.
Sean, a scoop. He's on the bench.
Wow, for the first time in 3 games. There will be an immediate media timeout on the next whistle, so it'll probably be just a very short breather. Knowles thought he was fouled by Donnell Beverly. He got spun around in the legs, it looked from here, but there's no call.
You know, I think his feet hooked onto his, not intentional, inadvertent. Check this out, Jay. See that? Just spun him around. Amazing.
(27-15) Connecticut. 7.5 to go first half here in Manhattan. Looked like Louisville was going to be 2 points closer as Knowles went toward the bucket.
And how about that? Just a foot hitting. And you know who we need here to make this call? Patrick McEnroe. A foot fault. Right?
It just kind of bumped into his back foot.
Got to be a foul, right? I mean, in a sense.
Spun him around a little bit and also
tough, though, for
prevented him from getting up to the rim.
They're all looking up as we were. Oh, nice play. Got something. Almost.
Almost. But Lamb kept it, then he threw it away.
A little careless.
Well, when you catch the ball, you think you can dribble along with the person beside you, but there's someone coming from the back that's going to tip it away. You've got to be very careful with the dribble in full court situations.
Nice denial.
By Shabazz Napier, freshman out of Randolph, Massachusetts. Offensive foul called. Walker, and that's 2. Kemba hope he enjoyed his grand total of 26 seconds of rest. He might get more now because Jim Calhoun almost always takes a player out of the game with 2 fouls.
A pretty good move by Jimmy. Rested him just before the media break.
Yeah, that was a really odd situation. You had Keurig jumping in front and Jennings going down there as well.
Charles Akwandu called for a foul as Peyton Siva went to the bucket. And if form holds for Jim Calhoun over his long history, Kemba Walker will be on the bench for the rest of the half. Typically, he takes you out with 2 fouls and keeps you on the bench for the rest of the half. So that's a huge break for Louisville if that happens.
Do you remember when these two were in Boston? I know you were the king of Boston. You got any good memories?
And I thought it was interesting to hear both coaches reflect about their days. Calhoun at Northeastern, where he, people forget, spent 14 years and was a very successful coach. Coach Reggie Lewis, among others. Rick Pitino at Boston University. Congratulations to the Terriers, who won the America East Championship today and will head back to the NCAA tournament. But they said those games were wars, and you know that the coaches were into it even back then. Both of them trying to earn their stripes on the way up to what have become Hall of Fame careers for both of them. Calhoun's already in. Pitino will be someday.
Were you bigger than them in Boston? That's my question.
Never.
At that time.
And no one, maybe only Kemba Walker, approaches your popularity here in New York City.
Because he tips.
Kemba does.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant me.
No, we both knew that. Coombs McDaniel off the side of the backboard, but Roscoe Smith there to put it back up and in for Connecticut. The lead back to 12, matching the largest for the Huskies. Of course, Louisville trailed by 16 in the first half last night. Keurig is wide open for 3. That looked good the whole way.
How about Rick talking about Keurig tonight? Just so impressed with this kid. Never gets tired.
Junior out of Evansville, Indiana, Kyle Keurig, who's really come on over the last 11 games. He's averaged over 16 points per game, has been their leading scorer during that stretch, and he's added 6 rebounds a game during that time. Roscoe Smith.
Well, that's his game, those threes. When he gets going, he gets pretty tough from deep.
Well, after he hit that first one at the top of the key, when he seemed surprised to be so open, shot as an afterthought, he's been very aggressive.
Terrence Jennings missed inside. Rick Pitino's put him back in the game with 2 fouls.
Well, not covering that corner at all. What an easy look. That's what you said earlier, Jay. That baseline high guy can pop out if you don't pay attention to him.
For Jamal Coombs, McDaniels had a quiet last 2 games, only 8 points total against Pitt and Syracuse. Chris Smith got his own rebound.
Nice extra pass.
Siva underneath to Jennings, and the reverse lay-in for Louisville. Back within 12.
Oh, what a nice finish by Terrence Jennings.
In traffic, too.
And the pressure. Will it eventually wear down the Huskies? Smith got called for a charge. Looked like he might have traveled first and probably would have preferred that call. It's the first on Roscoe Smith.
And Sean, just what they want, Louisville. Get you to hurry up a little bit. Get a little frenetic, get in your head, and no lead is insurmountable for the Cardinals. Like this one, Jay?
It's a terrific catch. That's an outstanding finish to take it to the other side of the rim to protect it from a shot block.
And there's that little play you like.
They've been staying behind that zone. That flattens it out. And if Keurig lifts up, if those wings lift up, that's going to be wide open, and it was on that occasion.
Connecticut giving Louisville a little taste of its own medicine, picking up in the backcourt. Elisha Justice is in now. Justice, Mara, Keurig, Smith, and Jeng. Small lineup out there for Rick Pitino.
They're going to get something off these back screens. Those are very effective.
Elijah Justice. Rebound, Lamb. Look out. Lifted in our direction, but it was saved by Coombs McDaniel. Also saved me from diving under the table. Whoops. Napier bounced it off his foot. 5-on-2 break for the moment.
Nice pass.
By Justice to Keurig. And a timeout, Connecticut, as Louisville scratched back within 10.
They become a little disconnected without the head. The head of the class, Kemba Walker.
Louisville getting some offense off of its defense. Getting the turnover, and Mike Mara. Pretty good little pocket pass there. It's a tough pass to make in transition.
Tomorrow night, ESPN Films presents the Fab Five, a documentary on one of the most famous teams in college basketball history, Michigan's Fab Five, considered by some to be the greatest class ever recruited. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson electrified the game, and they certainly brought a new style to the masses. The Fab Five presented by Super Street Fighter on ESPN tomorrow, 9 Eastern time.
Weren't you on the staff at Duke in those days?
I was.
Didn't you recruit one of them?
Chris Webber.
Yeah.
Recruited Chris Webber.
That was a big game in those days, too. Michigan Duke played a couple of years running.
Talk about the talent on the floor in that game.
And on the bench, I might add, with you.
Walker's been out of the game for more than 3 minutes. Connecticut's lost only 2 points off their lead. They were up 12 when he went out. Donnell Beverly. Seniors played in 103 games. He's experienced in this big spotlight. Justice to Keurig. And now Smith, the brother of J.R. Smith of the Denver Nuggets. Whooped out. Corner three wouldn't go for Keurig, and the rebound down to Jeremy Lamb, freshman from Norcross, Georgia.
They have done a nice job finding a tough shot under duress.
All right, Coombs McDaniel, rebound down to Jang, and now Justice, a freshman from Dorton, Kentucky. Rick calls him the Bullet because he has great speed and a pretty nice jumper as well.
Well, they all play with such confidence, instilled in individual drills under the tutelage of a maestro.
If you were Connecticut with Walker out of the game, would you think about maybe borrowing Mike Bray's burn offense a little bit?
I think that's what Jimmy said after. Look at these passes now. Goodness. Sean McDonough's missed some games with patches, illness. He's just not as tough as the Central Division in the NFL. Bloodied, but unbound. Toughness personified.
Oh, what a day it's been. We'll detail it for you on the Cisco halftime report. Another Husky hero, another diminutive guard coming through for some West Coast Huskies. Another playoff buzzer beater in the Ivy that sends Princeton into the dance. What does it mean for Harvard? They now move to that bubble, and the buzzer was of no consequence to anyone except the coronation of the Jayhawks in the Big 12. We'll see you at halftime.
All right, Reese, thank you. We're 2:28 away from halftime. Some forced rest here in the first half. Kemba Walker played every minute of the last 2 games and every minute of 4 of their last 6. Went to the bench with 7:15 to go with 2 fouls. They were up by 12. Then they're ahead by 10. Louisville ball. 10 points for Walker before he went out in 12 minutes. Siva exploding to the bucket. And Knowles a 3 out of the corner.
How about that execution check?
Well, it's the penetration by Siva and then kicking it out. And Louisville makes the extra pass really well.
Very unselfish.
They've got to get some stops, and they're allowing Connecticut to get into the lane too easily. Connecticut's got 22 points in the paint. They're shooting almost 60% from the field.
They could make a nice run right now against UConn. Step up the pressure, a couple of stops, go the other way. Nice cut.
Napier underneath the Coombs McDaniel, and he's fouled.
Well, little Napier taking over a little bit like Kemba. I like that with the little guy. Nice handle as well. Plays with a lot of confidence. Look at this slip pass. How pretty is that?
Here's the penetration by Siva, getting down along the baseline, drawing the defender. All of a sudden, Smith has to close out to 2 players. It's 2 guarded by 1.
That's the first foul, by the way, called against Louisville in over 14 minutes. It's on Chris Smith. His first of the team's 5th. They had committed 4 fouls with 15:44 to go in the half. And this was their most recent foul since. 5 team fouls apiece. Niels Giffey comes in, the freshman from Germany. Coombs McDaniel goes out after the free throws that have pushed the lead back to 9 for the Huskies. Siva swatted by Lamb. Keurig kept it alive to Knowles. Knowles for 3.
But Keurig made that play. If he doesn't knock that ball away, Connecticut's taking it the other way.
The speed to the ball is extraordinary.
Connecticut would love to see this half end as quickly as it can. Get Kemba back in the game in the second half. They've lost 6 off their lead since he went out. Tough pass again by Smith. Lamb on the floor, and ricocheted to Napier. And Smith's open for 3. Rebound Knowles.
I would have used clock. That's where Napier shouldn't give it to him.
A little easier for Siva without Walker pestering him. Walker had 6 steals last night against Syracuse. Jang missed a short one.
Don't be in a hurry if you're UConn and play into the hands of Louisville.
Well, they can almost take the last shot, but instead it's Lamb attacking the basket. Now Louisville could take the last shot. They have a break. They're going to take it. Keurig.
Score. They're going to get another.
I don't think any of the players know how much time's left. Knowles. Out of bounds. Connecticut ball.
Louisville wants to keep the heat on.
Well, you just saw Rick Pitino, though, hold up one finger and say 1 shot.
Because he wasn't waving his arms around before. He looked like he wanted him to take those.
You know, I'm with you, though. I think they were thinking, let's score and get another one.
Why not keep the heat on?
Kemba back in the game now as they go to offense. Calhoun confident he won't commit an offensive foul.
And Sean, he's got to make sure it's a jump shot. I wouldn't go to the rim if I were him, just in case somebody steps in. Little ball screen.
Well, one of his specialties is the buzzer beater, as we saw against Pitt and many other times this year. Not that time. Shot blocked. And we go to the half with Connecticut up by 6. They were ahead by 12 at 27-15. When Kemba picked up his second foul with 7:15 to go in the half, they were outscored by 6 without him. Here's Doris Burke.
Coach, you were able to make a little bit of a run there down the stretch. How'd you do it?
Well, we're making some shots and we're getting our press on. We're fine in this game. We had a lot of bad luck in the beginning of the game with missing layups inside. They're playing great, and we're only down 6. We'll be ready in the second half.
Coach, thank you. Sean.
And it helped, of course, that Kemba Walker went out of the game. He was terrific in those first 12 minutes. 38-32 UConn at the half. Reese, Hubert, and Digger with the Cisco half.
I am New York, young man. When they say I never sleep, this is what they're talking about. Lighting it up when the pressure's on. Starting fast, finishing strong. In the Big East Championship.
And welcome back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods and ESPN's coverage of the 2011 Big East Championship, presented by American Eagle Outfitters. Connecticut looking for its 7th Big East Championship. Louisville in search of its 2nd. And it's the Huskies by 6 as we get ready for the second half. Welcome back, Sean McDonough, Jay Bilas, Bill Raftery. For the 5th night in a row, more of the same brilliance from Kemba Walker.
Well, terrific job. You know, you may own Boston, he may own New York. Kemba's such an outstanding performer. His ability with the bounce, we all understand, but his grasp of the game, his knowledge, when to intercept, when to step in, that was a message, I think. And here, the step back jack, one of his premier moves.
And Peyton Siva pretty quick off the dribble himself, gets the ball into the teeth of the defense, and then is able to kick it out, the extra pass. Louisville not in bad shape. They didn't shoot it particularly well. If they can turn Connecticut over, they're in pretty good shape in this game.
Here's a look at the American Eagle Outfitters first half stats. Louisville just 4 out of 16 from beyond the arc, and for the half they shot 38%, while Connecticut shot 53%. Walker on the floor to begin the second half with Lamb, who was also excellent in the first half. Coombs, McDaniel, Oriaki, and Roscoe Smith.
Stack set Jay early. Little man-to-man offense against this matchup.
Walker leads all scorers with 10 points. He played 13 minutes with the foul trouble, and the Huskies turn it over. Siva. Rebound Jennings, and a foul call. Let's check in with Doris Burke.
Well, Sean, as you can imagine, according to George Blaney, UConn staff pretty much pleased with what happened in that first half. They loved early on that they got to every loose ball. Any rebounds that were in doubt seemed to go their way. They said Louisville got a little junkyard dog late. They didn't react well to it late in that half. They want to get their turnovers under control, so that last play won't be something that they like. But they're talked an awful lot about finishing at the rim. Make sure they finish at the rim in this second half. We'll see, guys.
All right, Roscoe Smith, the foul is second. Both teams perfect, but there have been many free throws so far. Terrence Jennings. Rebound Coombs McDaniel.
One of the things that UConn has to do is be prepared for the intensity that Louisville is going to bring to start the second half. They started the second half against Notre Dame last night with a tremendous amount of defensive intensity. They slap at the ball, they knock it away.
Well, nice. 14 points down at the half last night as they wore out Notre Dame in the second half. Notre Dame shot 27% in the second half last night after they shot 57% in the first half. Siva.
That bad shot by Roscoe Smith, and that was a bad shot. It was a challenge shot. Led to the run out by Louisville. This is exactly what we're talking about. Louisville punching Connecticut in the mouth to start the second half.
How well does he finish, though, Jay? That was a heck of a shot with the left.
Siva's their leading scorer, leads Louisville with 9, having a solid game for the 3rd time in as many games against UConn this year. Walker for 3. Tipped by Smith, but it wound up in the hands of Roscoe Smith of Connecticut, and then he was fouled by Preston Knowles. And that's the first foul on the senior.
You know, that's a shot that Roscoe Smith can hit unguarded. But he had somebody right in his face. That was a challenge, difficult shot, led to a run out. A bad shot is the first pass of your opponent's fast break.
Baz Napier in now. He inbounded to Coombs McDaniel, working on the shorter Siva.
Nice pass.
The defense came to help the shorter Siva, but then Oriaki had it blocked.
Play by Knowles.
Great team defense by Louisville. Kyle Keurig got Lamb in the air.
Boy, you've got to do everything to free yourself.
Knowles, a deep one. Rebounded by Napier.
Amazing speed and cover.
Lamb at 7 points, 5 rebounds in the first half. Another solid game He's had a terrific Big East tournament. Double figures in each of the first 4 to help Kemba Walker and the Huskies get here.
Bringing people up into the middle. It's a cutter followed by a second cutter.
Lamb.
Good shot.
A tip by Oriaki, and then Siva in among the trees. Whoops, lost it as he went behind the back, and then kind of a late whistle on a foul against Shabazz Napier, and that has Jim Calhoun livid on the UConn sideline. He got up stomping and now retreats back to the bench.
I think he got banged. No question about it. A little got the body involved, but boy, they put pressure on you to get back and in position. Beverly in now, trying to keep Walker off the ball, play the shooting guard spot.
That was a heck of a rebound by Peyton Siva.
He's amazing, isn't he? The things he can do.
Point guard goes in there, sticks his nose right in, and starts the fast break by himself.
How about you were saying Knowles' block was sensational at the rim.
Siva spinning, finds Keurig for 3. Louisville's battled all the way back from 12 down in the first half to tie it up. Shades of last night. Walker and a foul on the rebounding action. Mike Mara is going to be called for being a little too frisky on the box out.
Siva getting right around this ball screen and spinning, but still having the presence of mind to find a shooter in the corner.
Is they're in the right spot for him as well.
Keep the floor so spread. And even though Kemba Walker was able to get into the lane, that was a tough take.
Colin Mara was his first. Lamb backed in on Siva. Rebound Jennings. Now a chance for a lead for Louisville. Their last advantage was at 11-10 with 14 minutes left in the first half. Smith puts them up by 2. Timeout, Connecticut. Yeah, what a shame for Dan Munson, who's done such a great coaching job there at Long Beach State. Coverage of the Big East Championship is also available on ESPN 3D. Brought to you by Sony. Carmelo Anthony wearing his 3D glasses tonight. I thought Bill Raftery was the only one who wore sunglasses indoors. Knicks 6-4 since they traded for the former Syracuse star.
I like to block the red from people's view. See what they can do here after the timeout. They went a little one-on-one, I thought, particularly Lamb.
Well, Rick Pitino telling us before the game he's going to coach the Puerto Rican national team this summer. That's off Walker's foot and out of bounds. And that had already been announced, but Rick told us he's trying to get Carmelo Anthony to play for the Puerto Rican national team. Apparently, he would qualify if he was willing to do it.
Good luck. How about Jennings, though? Showing, negating that opportunity. Carmelo may have other thoughts. What do you feel?
Yes. We love him here in New York. They were pining for him to come here, and what he did, he has captured the fan base of the Knicks. Smith, very tough shot. Out of bounds. Oh, Rick Pitino doing quite a dance over on that side, but he didn't get the call. I don't know what that was, but it was a spirited little hop, skip, and a jump by the head man of the Cardinals. Yeah, that's great news for the Hoyas. Not good news for Connecticut. You wonder, for the second night in a row, the Louisville defense is wearing down its opponent. Last night, they seemed to tire the Irish, who shot just 27% in the second half. UConn in this second half 0 for 7, and they've turned it over twice. And they've squandered the lead. It's now Louisville by 2.
Body goes and the head goes. I think when Walker went to sit out, that changed the tempo of the game. See if they get regenerated.
Boy, he turned it into a very tough shot and hustled to get it back. Off for Oriaki for the dunk.
What a rebound by the little guy with the big ticker.
It wasn't just all the points last night, 33 of them against Syracuse. He had 12 rebounds, 6 steals, and 5 assists in the 45 minutes of the overtime game.
Got to be careful. He doesn't want to cheap one out at this distance.
Walker playing with 2 fouls. Jennings has 2. Siva 2. For Louisville, Elisha Justice pestered by Napier, who poked it away. Shabazz Napier. And the dunk by Lamb after Keurig defended the original shot. Timeout, Louisville.
All these timeouts are for a calming effect, but terrific hands, position to the feet. And how about this rearrangement, Jay? That's why you run the floor. You never know. You're going to be rewarded for your effort. Oh, Kemba with a sensational recovery after a difficult shot. How about the hands of the big fella? Get a red spot, you're fired if you're not ready with that kid.
Five ties and 6 lead changes. Connecticut led by 14 in the first half. 34-20 was their biggest advantage. Preston Knowles.
Oh, don't leave your feet, Lemmy. Jeremy.
Jennings, look out for Napier from behind, looking to strip it again.
Tough shot.
Very tough.
Seaver's got to move, too. He dumped it in. He didn't create any passing lane. Just stayed where he entered the pass.
Jeremy Lamb now 9 points and 7 rebounds as he ripped one down at the defensive end. Will the Huskies try to rest on offense?
Interesting. Walker trying to post. Remember we were talking about that last night, Jay? Against that zone? They're a little more man here, but it's still zone principles.
Good work by Walker. Got Smith in the air and got the foul. Chris Smith, his second. And the third on the Cardinals here in the second half.
Just so smart. Got a great feel. He's taken that step back so many times and has a feel that he can get his man into the air and draw the foul.
Ooh. Didn't get the legs in that one. I'm sure coaches say, hey, stay on the ground, stay on the ground, stay on the ground. A little uptick with the eyebrows, and Kemba can get you in the air.
Walker, an 80.5% free throw shooter, with 13 out of 14. They needed all those in their overtime win last night. He hasn't scored a point since 8:17 remained in the first half, and that's still true. He missed both. Siva.
Nice
stripped
hands
by Walker. Roscoe Smith has it. And alertly gives it to Napier. They'll let Walker play off the ball a little bit here. Napier, Lamb, Walker, Smith, and Okwandu for Jim Calhoun.
A little rest now. Walker on the sideline, a little fatigued. He was actually talking to Eddie Corbett, the official. Resting out top.
They would bring Lamb into the middle again. He was very successful there against the Syracuse zone.
Napier for three. First bucket of the night for Shabazz Napier. Knowles, tough shot, and he made it. Preston Knowles.
The making of a player. His sculpture job done on his game, incredible.
8 points tonight. He's gone over 1,000 for his career. He's at 1,004 now, the 62nd player at the U of L to reach 1,000 career points. That's tied with North Carolina for most 1,000-point career scores in the history of the program. Walker, blocking foul called on Jeng. Walker took a swerving path to try to avoid contact. He didn't want to get his third foul. Siva comes up limping. It's the second foul on Jeng.
He's asking to come out too. Let's hope he's okay. His game is all speed, and you need the legs. And nice avoidance, I thought. The right call. Oh, goodness, the way that went under there. That was tough.
After missing two a moment ago, Walker finds the mark. Siva limps to the end of the Louisville bench. First point in 15 minutes and 42 seconds of game action for Kemba Walker.
Rick Pitino was just telling the officials Kemba Walker is not Michael Jordan.
In this league, he is.
Siva in obvious pain on the bench, and you wonder with what Kemba has done if he's re-entered the conversation as a national player of the year. He did not win Big East Player of the Year. Ben Hansbrough did. If they had had the vote in the Big East at the midway point of the season, it certainly would have been Kemba Walker. Akwandu called for a second foul, but this is 5 games in a row now when it's mattered in a significant way that Walker's been brilliant.
Yeah, I guess it depends on when they stop the voting too, Sean. You know the Wooden Award's still out there, Naismith Award. A lot of things that may fall his way. He's starting to play like he did early in the year.
Zimmer Fredette probably leads that conversation, would you think?
I would think. Wouldn't you, Jay?
He was pretty good the other day with 52.
Yeah.
Knowles to the bucket. Passed off to Curick for 3. It popped out. Jang got a hand on it. Napier had it, and Knowles took it away. And then Walker stripped him. And then he threw it away to Justice. And then Curick knocked it out of bounds.
What a busy play-by-play man. Frenetic? Would that describe that?
That describes the action frequently when Louisville's involved. Siva in pain. That's a blow to Louisville's chances. They're down by 5 with 12 minutes to go. And welcome back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, and the Big East Championship presented by American Eagle Outfitters at Dandy, UConn, and Louisville. A 5-point Husky lead. Peyton Siva turned his ankle on this play right there. Trying to defend Kemba Walker. And shortly thereafter, on this play, Preston Knowles, another Louisville guard, was injured. And as they went to the bench for the timeout, he was in obvious pain. And neither one of them is on the floor right now. And they are perhaps the 2 key players for Louisville in this game. Roscoe Smith runs it down to the backcourt.
Well, that's what their defense makes you do in that half court. Baseline out of bounds.
Hand check on Mike Mara, called for his 2nd foul. 15th foul on Louisville. Now it's Knowles who looks to be in more pain than Siva.
You know, it's very tough to guard Walker. I think you got to fake at him with the dribble, fake and recover. I mean, you just can't let him dominate on you.
Backcourt violation. Lamb lost the handle. Pesky defense by Justice. He played on a state championship team in high school in Kentucky last year at Shelby Valley, where he was Mr. Basketball in the state of Kentucky, so he has a chance to win another championship a year later.
There's their X-play ball screen.
Well, because they don't have anybody to blast off that ball screen. Mike Mara is more of a shooter than a guy that's going to come off a ball screen.
Nice pass and the dunk. Jang the finish off the feed from Justice, who's standing in, and so far very nicely in the absence of Siva and Knowles.
Well, they lift everybody. Very tough to defend, and a wonderful look, as you described, Sean.
Well, they keep the floor spread. When you've got Mara and Curick in each corner, you can't come off those guys to help.
And then again, the harassing Louisville defense. Back cut by Walker. Tough pass. Good catch by Lamb. 10 to shoot. 11 minutes to go in the game. Napier for 3. Good rebound by Roscoe Smith. And he's fouled in the act of shooting by Kyle Curick.
Well, Jay mentioned rebounding, as Jim Calhoun did. That's where they want to be superior.
Well, here's a little ball screen, and Justice, boy, what a pretty pass. And the floor was so spread that you couldn't have any UConn defenders that were cheating off. Otherwise, Justice could hit one wing or another for a 3.
Curick to foul, his first. Roscoe Smith at the line. Left the game in the first half against Pittsburgh when he took an inadvertent elbow in the eye from Big Gary McGee that required 8 stitches. Started last night but played only 5 minutes. Really hadn't fully recovered. Adjusted to the eye injury, but he's played well tonight. Both guards coming back, Siva and Knowles.
Curious to see how Siva motors now, aren't you? Whether you can keep it up, that high level of pressure on you. Of course, Knowles as well, one of those guys, great footwork to get his shots off.
Another for Smith. The UConn lead is 5. They led by 14 in the first half. The largest lead for Louisville, just 3 points at 9-6 in the early going.
Yeah, they know everybody. They're one of those plays, don't they?
They're trying to keep it to one side. Good fake.
Knowles for Smith. Walker right up, slapping at him, trying to avoid that third foul. Has the steal. And then it was taken back by Siva. Siva all the way to the goal.
I'd say his footwork is fine. Electrifying speed.
You can't feel secure with that ball anywhere on the floor. If you can't see him, he's behind you.
Siva led the Big East in steals, 2 per game. And the leader in steals, of course, for UConn is Kemba Walker. He had 6 last night against Syracuse.
That was the way people used to play with Muggsy Bogues. Point guards would say, you know what, if you can't see him, pick the ball up.
You need a rear view mirror with him as well as Siva.
Napier, wow. Had to shoot it, and then the foul on Keurig. Siva still grimacing, yeah, and he has a pained expression on his face, and you wonder if he's going to be able to continue.
I would say no, the way he is recoiling in agony. How about this sequence? That was interesting. If that was a full control dribble, it could have been as he dribbled backcourt, you know? But I think it was rather close, to say the least.
Well, you wonder he did something to re-aggravate it, because on those plays we saw, Siva looked to be moving comfortably, but he's not comfortable right now.
He's not looking over the bench. Love his toughness.
Smith, most highly touted recruit in this very good freshman class for Connecticut. Jang the rebound. The lead is 4. More than midway through the second half now. Louisville's won 4 straight against Connecticut. That streak is on the line. More importantly, it's the Big East championship up for grabs. Knowles has it back from Keurig. 3.
Amazing.
And what a pass.
And they're just so active to get free as well and knowing where they're going to be. And then the ability to look.
Timeout, Connecticut. Jim Calhoun didn't like the mad scramble going on in the backcourt. Rick Pitino was a 6th defender there. He was actually on the court while Louisville was pressing after the 3 ball by Knowles.
Siva is in agony, Sean, over there behind the huddle. As we take a look at the ball movement, the ability to knock shots down.
Championship week continues tomorrow afternoon with ACC and SEC championship game action at 1 Eastern on ABC. It's Kentucky and Florida for the SEC championship, and on ESPN at 1 Eastern, Duke and North Carolina for the ACC championship, perhaps the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. A part of that story, both games are the championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. How about the Tar Heels? Looked like they were dead and buried in both games the last 2 days against Miami and Clemson, and rallied to win both despite leading for just a matter of seconds against Miami and just minutes against Clemson.
Coming of age lately, aren't they?
Oh, they have played extraordinarily well, especially with Kendall Marshall at the point. How about 40 points by Harrison Barnes today?
Has he matured?
He sure has gotten better and better. That's, of course, a career high for Harrison Barnes in their win in overtime over Clemson. Clemson had a last shot regulation, didn't get a very good one.
What a gritty kid Peyton Siva is. I mean, this is all guts.
He's all over Lamb. Probably their 3rd best ball handler on the court with Walker and Beverly. Lamb spins away. Keurig called for a reach-in foul by John Gaffney. Keurig played the whole 45 minutes last night against Notre Dame. Rick Pitino told us before the game, I feel bad about that. I didn't realize. Said he doesn't foul. And I love having him in the game because he does so many things to help us, but I should have gotten him out there at least once or twice for a breather.
His progress has been extraordinary, this guy. George Blaney talking about his ability to make tough shots, the floaters we enjoyed.
Yeah, Steve is still in pain. It looks like he's just going to have to fight his way through it to the finish tonight. Lamb. Three-point lead for Connecticut under 9 minutes to go. Siva stripped. And again, Siva seems to be moving fine. Walker, tough shot, blocked out of bounds. And apparently last touch by Walker on a follow-through. The gesture by Ed Corbett.
Did you see Siva get back, Jay? I mean, that kid has got toughness beyond. Look at him in the rear there.
Crowd wanted a foul, or at the very least, they wanted it last touch by Louisville. Kemba hasn't had a field goal since 8 and change left in the first half. He has scored from the line. A steal by Donnell Beverly and a foul on a reach in against Siva. And that's 9 team fouls against Louisville, while Connecticut's been called for only 3, so this will be a 1-and-1. And for all the talk about fatigue for the Huskies, 5 games in 5 days, bear in mind this is the 3rd and 3 for Louisville. They're not used to that either. They're tired too.
And the level they play at, I mean, it accentuates fatigue if you have it.
Beverly doesn't play much, doesn't get to the line much. That's just his 27th free throw of the year in their 35th game. But he makes both. Senior from Los Angeles. Connecticut's last 9 points have come from the free throw line. The lead 5. Terrence Jennings underneath. Foul, count it.
And the delivery by Siva, running the show. Again, Jay, that deployment, nobody downstairs, everybody lifted.
Well, pick and roll, very effective, and a nice job rolling to the basket and the shot fake. And little pivot. That's a really good catch, and to catch that without walking in that kind of traffic and to finish the play. A strong performance by Terrence Jennings off that pick and roll.
And you think he's really got a big upside, don't you?
Well, he can run, he can block shots, and he can rebound. And now that he's finishing plays, he's not the type that's going to catch it on the low block and have a vast array of post moves. That may come in time, but if he does those first few things we talked about, he's a pro.
Siva comes out. There'll be immediate timeout on the first whistle under 8 minutes, so a chance to get him just a little more rest. Elisha Justice comes in. He's going to pester the Huskies in the backcourt.
Got to come help.
And they have about 3 to get it over. They just did beat the 10 count. Beverly, no. Keurig the rebound. 2 to tie, 3 for the lead now for Louisville.
Nice shape up
by Jennings. Now Smith fouled by Coombs McDaniel. Huskies are not over the limit. It's the first foul on Coombs McDaniel. And the 5th team foul on UConn. They're playing for the Big East Championship at Madison Square Garden in New York. Some of the scenes and memorable images from this Big East Championship game in the background of those billboards. Louisville with the ball down by 2, under 8 minutes to go. Preston Knowles got Walker in the air. Very tough fadeaway. Rebound Jennings. Chris Smith back to Jennings. Tie game.
They keep attacking, relentless, and being available and aware. The big fella dominating in the lane.
Siva, who's been grimacing, is still on the bench, although he is standing over on the bench right now. It's Knowles and Justice the backcourt with Keurig, Jennings, and Smith for Rick Pitino. Lamb with Walker, Napier, Coombs, McDaniel, and Oriaki for Jim Calhoun.
Louisville has got to play this possession without fouling. Connecticut's 3 of 16 from the field. They make him take a challenge shot, they've got a chance. You can't put him at the line.
Lamb, tough shot, well contested by Keurig. Now a chance for the lead for Louisville.
The other night, Ben Hansbrough, his head with difficulty in making good decisions. Right now, Jeremy Lamb being just a little bit anxious on the offensive end.
He has had a complete game.
Offensive foul on Knowles. The charge drawn by Kemba Walker. 3 fouls, rather 2 fouls on Knowles.
And Kemba just jumps the screen here. Does a nice job. They're trying to keep it to one side, to down it, ice it. Just moves his feet to get in front.
Good job establishing position first, wasn't it?
Walker pops out. Oriaki crashed the boards, got the ball. Smith pestered by Siva, who just came back in. Land. Tip in by Oriaki.
Lamb laid out a little bit, but the big guy dominating. Good hands with that tip.
10 points for Oriaki. He's been outstanding in this Big East championship. He's 2 rebounds away from his 3rd double-double in 5 games here.
He kept that ball alive. Not for him keeping it alive. Louisville's taking it the other way.
Love that kid. My goodness, what courage and that time tenacity. Getting through traffic, he finishes in terrific fashion.
Well, he goes from grimacing to explosive moves, back to grimacing. Foul in the backcourt. That's the double bonus now. UConn will be shooting 2 the rest of the way as Chris Smith just committed his 3rd foul, the 11th against Louisville in this half.
A nice hesitation move by Siva. And Kemba Walker just showing how smart he is. He got a little bit of a bump. Now it was a foul, but he sold it too to the official.
A little bit like Siva. We grimace every once in a while over here.
2 free throws for Walker. He made the first. Mike Mara back in for Preston Knowles.
Did you have a conversation with Mike? I saw you going over.
Yeah, he said his brother got a lot of business at the tattoo parlor in Johnston, Rhode Island after we mentioned it the other night.
I thought you were looking for a freebie.
I was. Said his brother had about 50 people on Facebook inquiring about the New Addiction Tattoo Parlor in Johnston, Rhode Island, where Mike got his body art. He had an artful game 2 nights ago with 6 threes, and they went over Marquette, and as he passed, there's a whistle away from the ball by John Gaffney. Underneath, these officials done a nice job tonight. 3rd foul on Roscoe Smith. 6 fouls on Connecticut.
Mention the officials. I think they did a great job, Sean. I agree. High-level game.
Let's hope it ends that way. After the way it started, it would be a very nice way to finish. Jennings. Foul. The Huskies didn't think so. And Smith thought there was a push-off. But Jennings will go to the line with a chance to tie it. That puts Connecticut over the limit. Oriaki's first foul.
Some guys have a nose for the ball, don't they, Jay?
Jennings did push off, too. Roscoe Smith was right. He does have a nose for the ball.
The best offensive rebounder I remember, Paul Silas, from his college and pro days at Creighton. I'll give you one, Sean. You'll get mad at Bailey Howell.
A little deeper back. Well, Paul Silas wasn't yesterday either, but one of the good guys, too, and a good coach. Justice couldn't run it down.
He helped the officials by running after it.
So Connecticut ball, the 1-point lead. Siva back on the bench for Louisville. Walker being held well below his average, 10 points under his scoring average, but Connecticut still has the lead. And they've dealt very well with the harassing defense of the Louisville Cardinals for most of the night. 12 turnovers, which isn't alarmingly high against this bunch.
You know, if they hide behind Mara, they seem to be able to get some things done. Maybe not trading off as well.
Under 5 minutes to go now. Walker, count it!
The last 2 games against primarily zone defenses, they've done a really good job, UConn has, of getting the ball to the middle and making a play. As soon as the ball goes to the middle, quick cut, nice little handoff, and just too much ground to cover to get in front with the speed of Kemba Walker, and he's able to finish the play through the foul.
That was his first field goal in 23 minutes and 21 seconds. His last 2-point field goal came at 8:17 left in the first half. He has scored from the line since. Connecticut by 4. If you're just joining us, they built a 14-point lead in the first half. Louisville rallied to take a 2-point lead here in the second half. Now Huskies by 4. Under 5 minutes to go for the Big East title.
Giffey's got to stay attached on the other side with Mara. Penetration.
Seba. It bounced off to Walker.
He's just having fun out there, isn't he?
He is indeed. He plays with a smile on his face, which is another thing that makes him so appealing. Here's a guy who's really improved his NBA stock, too, as the year went along. Talking to the scouts at Maui at the beginning of the year, most teams looked at him as a backup player. Not anymore.
Got to get rid of it.
Ooh. Napier in the long jack. Run down by Niels Giffey. And then the pass too hot to handle for Oriaki. Seba weaving through the traffic. Off for Knowles for 3.
Wow, what an effort just to control the bounce. And then the kick out.
And this frenetic pace is what Louisville wants.
So far, Connecticut holding up underneath the strain of 5 games in 5 days, and the 5th against one of the peskiest defensive teams in the country and one of the best.
I'm sorry, Sean, I have a bulletin. Kemba's tired. Look at him resting over here.
Napier dished it underneath. 12 points for Roscoe Smith tonight. UConn by 3 as we tick down to 3 minutes to go for the Big East title.
Boy, amazing. It's Kemba and a bunch of kids out there.
Timeout. Louisville. Walker clearly winded as he heads to the bench, and why wouldn't he be? 3-point game here, Reese Davis. All right, Reese, thank you. And ABC has NBA Sunday Showcase tomorrow. Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns hosting Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic. The NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC. Coverage starting at 3 Eastern with the Buick-Regal NBA Countdown Show. Going to showcase tonight for 2 outstanding teams. Preston Knowles and Louisville. And the UConn Huskies led by Kemba Walker, who, like Jerry McNamara and Deshaun Butler in recent years at this Big East tournament, has put his team on his back. Can he win it all as those two did? Knowles.
Oh, soft.
And dropping through.
Feathery. What confidence and elevation and strength to knock that one down.
What a difficult shot. One thing they haven't been able to do is trap Kemba Walker.
No.
Run 2 defenders at him, you can't trap him.
Yeah, I think you could do some damage. You get it to him in the corners.
Napier shake and bake, and then a wild flip toward the bucket. Out of bounds to Louisville. And now immediate timeout with 2:12 to go. 63-62 UConn looking for its 7th Big East Tournament championship. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden in New York City. It's championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And this Big East Championship's brought to you by American Eagle Outfitters, another dandy in the Big East final. And perhaps again tonight, the Louisville defense wearing down the opponent. Connecticut, 5th game in 5 days, shot the ball remarkably well in the first half, but the percentage down to 25% against the relentless pressure here in the second half. Louisville ball down by 1, chance for the lead. Seba with Knowles, Keurig, Mara, and Jennings.
Seba looks fresher.
Knowles. Louisville by 1.
What a move. He just put Donnell Beverly right on his back.
Amazing confidence he plays with. Green light.
So they're trying to keep him to one side. Well, he faked hard and was able to move the defense without moving himself.
It's just like last night when Knowles carried Louisville down the stretch. He scored their last 7 points tonight. Walker with 1.5 minutes to go.
Got to give him something.
Both Seba and Knowles watching him carefully. Shot clock running down. Walker might have pushed off. They need a shot. 2 seconds. 1. Offensive foul. Charge taken by Mike Mara.
an incredible defensive stand by Louisville.
And you know, you're right, but UConn helped them with their deployment. They never came out and gave a screen. He hit early in the sequence, but absolutely correct, Jay. They just get after you at key times.
And the one time where Connecticut doesn't move the ball. They dribbled the leather off of it, but Louisville's defense was a big part of that.
Trying to stop Knowles from touching it.
1 minute to go in regulation. Knowles driving on Walker. Tough shot way off. Rebounded by Smith. Off to Walker with Napier, Oriaki, and Lamb for Connecticut. Timeout, Jim Calhoun. It'll leave him with 1. With 46 seconds to go, he wants the full timeout.
What a good job defensively by Walker on that trip, too. He really played Knowles as tough as he was played at the other end. How about this?
Well, he's summoned the energy time and time again. At Texas, January 8th, down 1. 5 seconds in overtime against a tough defender, Dolce Balbe. Walker nailed the jumper. UConn won. Game tied against Villanova in mid-January. 2.5 seconds to go. Walker, the floater. Connecticut wins again by 2. Another buzzer beater against Pittsburgh in the quarterfinal 2 days ago. At the buzzer, he gave them a 76-74 win. 6 times this year in the final 3 minutes of a game, he's hit the game winner or go-ahead shot. He's now played 189 minutes since Tuesday afternoon. Game winners or go-ahead shots against Pitt and Seton Hall, Michigan State and Wichita State. In addition to the ones you saw, each team with 1 timeout, both in the bonus. Possession arrow for Louisville.
I think the big thing now, Jay, is that they run something for him. If they give him a ball screen, that's one thing. Or they pop to the lane with him, or pop to the lane and give it to him on a wing. They can't just stand out in the perimeter here because the pinching zone principles makes it very hard for him to beat 2 people.
Peyton Sieve, as they took the floor, was telling Mike Roberts, the official in front of us, to watch for Walker clearing out with the free arm. Coombs McDaniel plays it in to Napier. Walker, Oriaki, and Lamb. About 15 seconds difference between the game and shot clocks.
Going with a horn set.
Walker into the traffic. Dumps it off for Lamb. UConn by 1. 33 to go. Siva the push. Lost it. Jennings has it. Jennings in trouble. Timeout. Rick Pitino rescued Jennings and used his last timeout in doing so.
Whew. How good was that pass, Jay Bird? All you have to do is get your hands ready. The ability to extricate yourself from tough spots by Walker. He looks like he's in trouble here. Keeps it low and then finds.
They just went with something called a horn set. One man pops, the other rolls, and Kemba just made the play by himself, drew the defense. And Jeremy Lamb's had a terrific game.
Sure has.
Every facet he's scored, he has rebounded, blocked shots, he's defended. You know, Kemba hasn't done this all by himself. Jeremy Lamb, Alex Oriaki, they've been big parts of it.
And you knew they were going to just leave him out there alone. They had to give him something.
Don't forget, friends, don't fill out your NCAA brackets until you spend Selection Sunday with us. Bracketology comes your way 3 Eastern on ESPN. At 6 at Sports Center with wall-to-wall coverage of the brackets. Once they are announced, there are a lot of teams on pins and needles waiting for that. At 7, our experts will break it all down with 2 hours of bracketology presented by Staples. Well, recent history as a guide, guys, you would expect Preston Knowles to wind up with the ball at some point. Last night, he scored their final 8 points in regulation to get them into the overtime against Notre Dame. Tonight, he scored their last 7 points.
Well, they usually like the down screen for him, or he back screens and pops.
Here comes Knowles. He's down on the ground as he gets the ball, and they don't have a timeout if they get stuck. That's deflected out of bounds with 23 seconds to go. The shot clock is off.
They're very fortunate. What a play by Knowles. Falling down. Still able to come up with the ball.
Mara to play it in. It's deflected. It was deflected by Lamb and picked up by Napier now. Walker, they need a foul, and Knowles does.
Still plenty of time if you're Louisville.
The inability to cleanly inbound the ball, passing and catching. And perhaps something we haven't talked enough about tonight, the outstanding defense that UConn has played. The deflection by Jeremy Lamb. Long arm, active, making it difficult to get it in.
2 free throws for Walker. Well, he makes the second. It'll be interesting. We asked Jim Calhoun before the game, are you a believer in fouling with a 3-point lead in the final seconds? He said, no, I've never done it. I think too many bad things can happen. You put losing into the equation if you do it. Timeout, Jim Calhoun with that 3-point lead. 16.4 to go. In a similar situation, gentlemen, to what we saw last night in the game against Syracuse when UConn had a 3-point lead late. Scoop Jardine hit a 3 for Syracuse to get the game into overtime. We asked Jim Calhoun about that before the game. He said, I don't like the foul, but you can't do what we did, not even contest the 3-point shot. He said, our best play now is defend the 3 hard.
I think that's right. And even if you wanted to foul now, you'd have to get it under 5 seconds. There's 16.4 seconds left in regulation. I think if Louisville can get the ball up court and get something going into the lane, get to the rim, get it quick too, then if somebody comes off to help and you can hit an open 3-point shooter, then take it. If you've got somebody stepping into an open 3, then take it. Otherwise, get to the rim and extend the game.
I would agree with you. I think the one thing they do wonderful is get Knowles coming out and he turns in the air a la Bernard King and make shots. Sometimes it's a 2, sometimes it's a 3. So they've got to be ready for him on the catch.
Louisville makes more 3-pointers per game than any team in the Big East. 9 per game. They're 7th in the nation. They need one now more than ever. Ball inbounded, and then Mike Roberts stopped the play.
The clock didn't, it's down 1 second, I believe.
They might have started running before it was touched in bounds. I think they might have run the clock as the ball was leaving the hand of the inbounder, Keurig. Yeah, they put the second back up. Alert work there by Mike Roberts. Yeah, it was starting to run before it was touched. So that's why they'll do it over again, and Keurig can still run the baseline. Keurig, Seva, Mara, Jennings, and Knowles needing a 3 to tie.
The later it goes, they're going to have to take the 3.
10 seconds to go. Knowles, no! Tipped out to Mara. 5 seconds. He's fouled while shooting a 3 by Walker.
Boy, it was Keurig again that kept that ball alive.
He's amazing, isn't he?
The little fade screen got Knowles the ball on the wing, and it was a contested 3. And how about the presence of mind by Mike Mara?
76%.
He needs all 3 with 3.9 to go. 79% for the year. Swish on the first one. He doesn't get there much. That's just the 29th free throw he has shot all year long. He's more or less a perimeter player. Two more to come. He needs both. Now do you have to miss?
Gotta miss. Gotta miss. Now they gotta go big inside.
They don't have a timeout here to discuss it.
Keurig and Jennings have to get inside now. Jennings was back at half court.
Mike Mara, sophomore from Smithfield, Rhode Island.
I would put Keurig in. Yeah, switch it. Well, they're going to go with Knowles inside. Maybe
so they want to miss. They need possession, and now they can put it just straight back up because a 2 would tie. He made it. 1-point game still. Now they need a steal or a very quick foul. Roscoe Smith, they don't have a timeout to get it in. Smith gets it in and Napier, fouled by Mara with 3.3 to go.
You think he meant to miss that? It looked like it was a little left. I think he was shooting to miss it.
He does not look happy about that going in.
Yeah, I didn't think so. He's just shaking his head back here.
Probably thinking, why didn't I try to miss the second one then if it worked so well? Wow. Well, there's still time. Especially with the speed guys they have.
You're right, Sean. Seva, can explode up the floor.
Connecticut, a very good free throw shooting team, 75%. They've made their last 9 tonight, despite all the fatigue. And Napier's 76% for the year. First free throw of the night for the freshman.
This is the one now that's very important for UConn, and obviously changes the strategy for Louisville.
And good for Napier, because he shot only 1 free throw last night late in the game in a key spot, and he missed it. Wonder if that had to be in the back of his mind here.
And Sean, nobody up. I think they've got to come up a little bit. UConn, give them the opportunity to speed dribble.
3-point game, a 3 to tie and force overtime again. Peyton Siva off for Knowles. Oh, off the back rim. Connecticut has won the Big East championship. Seventh Big East title for UConn. That ties Georgetown for the most in Big East history. And Jim Calhoun is all along with the most Big East tournament titles for a coach with his 7. He had been tied with John Thompson the Elder with 6 apiece. Kemba Walker didn't have his best night, but he was there time and time again when they needed him, and they got a great look in the final 3.3, gentlemen.
Louisville is never out of it the way they play. Can't beat it. Speed dribble, and that corkscrew by Knowles. So often he's been able to convert and make big shots. Not this time, but UConn and Walker and company victorious. How about that?
The UConn Huskies have had a remarkable season. Kemba hugging his mother, Andrea. You think back to the fact they were picked to finish 10th in the Big East in the preseason coaches poll. They set the tone early, won the Maui Classic against a great field. And thanks largely to that young man, they have surpassed all expectations. Plenty of off-the-court distractions as well in the UConn basketball program. UConn the champs, their first title since 2004. Here's Doris.
Coach, congratulations. To win your 5th game in 5 days, you had to go through a Louisville team that brings a tremendous amount of intensity. Usually their pressure has a cumulative effect. How on earth did your guys pull this off?
Well, they're absolutely amazing. 5 games, 5 days, 5 wins against great teams, including Louisville, certainly. And, you know, we just had different kids stand up, and you know, Roscoe today, big night for him, and Alex, and you know, and we needed defensive stops. We tried to use everybody on the bench we possibly could to get some rest. And since 1999 was special, our first one. This is the right there with it, because I'll tell you what, it's been a fight over the last 6-7 years to get them back to this tournament. We've been other places, but to win this thing is absolutely so special. I'm so proud of them.
Coach, for certain stretches of this season, it almost seemed like you felt like you had to defend Kemba as a National Player of the Year candidate. I know you've been asked over and over again, but can you describe, comparatively speaking, and you've had some great ones in your program, the year this young man has had?
Well, it's a special year for a single player that Kemba's had, as any player I've probably ever had. And his dedication to us winning tonight, to sacrifice layoff for the big win. I mean, absolutely special. We knew they'd double team him, and we slid a guy in the baseline, and he found him. He found him.
Coach, you talked earlier in the year that this year was a difficult one with the distractions of the NCAA, and you didn't want this to hurt, and your young guys came through for you. Can you describe how proud you are under the circumstances of this year, of this particular championship, which ties you for Georgetown for all-time wins in a Big East tournament?
Well, not a lot of people might feel it's not as good a season I would have liked. I'm talking about all the other things, but all the other things were nothing. These guys, my sons, they made the season so special to me, and I'm so emotional about it. You can't believe how I feel inside right now.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you, Doris.
Kemba, your coach just described the pass you delivered late in the basketball game to Jeremy Lamb. Our announce crew has talked about the faith you've put in your teammates around you. Can you describe that last play and what you knew was coming with the defense for Louisville?
Well, no, it was. I knew it was gonna be the biggest play of the game. I knew they was aggressive on me, and I was able to get by one guy, and one of the big guys stepped up, and Jeremy was there, and he put it up, and I was able to give him the ball, and he made the big basket for us.
Our guys talked tonight about the level of intensity. Every basketball was loose. You had to scrap and hold on for dear life. Can you describe how hard it was to win the 5th game against a team like Louisville?
It was extremely hard. It being our 5th game, and the way Louisville plays. They want us to get tired, and I think they did a great job at it. But we stayed mentally tough. We stayed together, and we was able to pull this W out.
Can you describe the run you've had here over these 5 days in your hometown? What it's like on the world's most famous arena stage to perform the way you did?
Well, I was just motivated. We came off some bad loss in the regular season, and we were doubted coming into this tournament, and it was just motivating to me and my teammates. And they said we couldn't do it, but we did it.
Could you go again tomorrow?
If I had to, yes.
I believe it. Sean, back to you.
Yeah, I think we all believe it too. He is the winner of the Dave Gavitt Trophy as the most outstanding player of this Big East championship. The rest of the all-tournament team, Jeremy Lamb, who was huge in all 5 games, Preston Knowles and Peyton Siva of Louisville, Notre Dame, Scott Martin, and Rick Jackson of Syracuse. I think Alex Oriaki easily could have been on that team as well. He averaged a double-double for the tournament. Another memorable final at this Big East championship. Connecticut, the winners. Both teams on to the NCAA tournament. 69-66 the final. Sports Center coming up next for exclusive coverage of the Big East Championship Trophy presentation. Go to ESPN3.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jay, Bill, and Doris, our great crew, Sean McDonough, congratulations to UConn, the 2011 Big East champions. They are the last men standing. Now for the national debut of Nick Lachey's Big East Anthem.